of course, many countries have already evacuated their people, and Uganda is set to evacuate a number of them today that are actually arriving in the country today. Now, I am here with my colleague Chirabo Robert, and we are going to be having this discussion with you. Don't move. So, Chirabo, we see our brothers in South Africa are fighting their fellow Africans. What does this mean for Africa and its people?
Well, thank you, Jane. First, this is very unfortunate because it's not the first time that we are seeing these xenophobic attacks. This could be the third or even fourth time. It was then, I remember, 2021, 2008, and now here we are again. Now, first, this is what I believe, and the great scholars tell us, most of us are Pan-Africans, that we were only divided by the white man, but we were one person, Africans. We were one. We were only divided by these boundaries, by the Muzungu. Said, now Uganda, for you you're here, for you you're here, for you you're there. But we are one person. That's why we even share names in some of these African countries. I was in Zambia for about some period of time, but I was shocked that most of the names we have here, mostly in the Uganda culture, the people in Zambia have those names. You find a Chintu, a Nachintu, a Namusoke. You know, they have those names in Zambia. Some even in South Africa, they do have these names. When we look at ourselves, Jane, you find a person who will tell you she's South African, but she looks like you.
Yes.
So we are one person to begin with as Africans. But then when it comes to South Africa, it is worse. Why am I saying so? It is one of the countries, I think apart from South Sudan, that got independence quite late. Now, a number of African countries contributed so much in the struggle for the independence of South Africa, if you remember during apartheid. Remember one time we hosted a president of South Africa, and the president revealed how apartheid fighters, people that were fighting against apartheid, were trained here, I think in Kaweweta or somewhere. They were trained by Uganda. They needed Africa most. Many African countries stood with them to get their independence, to fight the slavery, the inhuman behavior. Other African countries, we are one, but South Africa owes African countries.
Maybe they don't appreciate that.
Tubabanja, you have a debt that you can't pay. Because when you're being treated as beasts of this world, as animals by the white man by then, Africans stood up, they used their country's resources, they sacrificed their children, they provided protective grounds for you to be safe. And indeed, they gave maybe also weapons that helped you in the fight against. So, South Africa is unique in that way. And what does this mean to the broader vision of Africa?
Yes.
And I want to say the African Union has not handled this with enough attention it deserves as far as pushing for a strong Africa. The late Colonel Mama Gaddafi had a broader picture of Africa, dreaming of a day when the entire Africa is one country, when I can freely move from any country on the African continent to, I think it was called the United States of Africa. So, when we are pushing, okay, for East Africa, we are pushing for that one block. SADC is there and these blocks. But when we believe of a continent to be a country, and we remove this to better trade, I think this is a situation that is uncalled for, that is putting a reverse mode in expediting the progress of a unified Africa.
Now, in some of their reasons, the South Africans, they are saying the undocumented migrants are actually taking over their jobs. So in your opinion, do you think this is a valid reason for them to be protesting?
First, I want to say it is a 50-50. Why am I saying it's a 50-50? One, countries, despite our challenges, must ensure that people who are in those countries are legally there. An ordinary South African may not have a way of doing that, but there is a government.
But it looks also, like in this case we are talking about those
yes,
that are not documented.
That's why I say that countries must ensure that the foreigners in that country are well documented. They don't have people who are illegally in that country.
Yes.
But you must also remember that even the United States of America faces this challenge. Even great nations face this challenge.
So it's not only South Africa.
So it's not only South Africa that has undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
The states, Uganda faces this challenge as well. I always tell people that for me, if I want to go to Tanzania, I can go through my grandmother's garden. And I will be there. And you'll also be registered as I don't have any undocumented migrant. Because my mom is from Tanzania, she's a Muziba. But I don't have many relatives. Today they are there, tomorrow they are here. Sometimes I even ask some of them, my uncles, but which country are you from? You know, they don't have dual citizenship, but there are things that are very fun and hard to understand. So we have what we call porous borders. But also have crafty Ugandans and crafty Africans, that for them entering another country, working there, staying there is easy. So first, the problem South Africans are raising, many African countries are having it. Even developed countries are having it. So that shouldn't be a reason to give now, taking on jobs that they believe are meant to be theirs. One, today, governments, yesterday I was speaking to the World Bank group, top officials from the World Bank. But they noticed that today, countries are no longer looking at giving jobs or governments creating jobs. They're empowering the private sector to create jobs. Now, when we talk of this for taking on jobs, and in South Africa, it is the private sector that is dominating the economy. Now, I want to believe these are South Africans that are having these companies and are choosing to hire foreigners. I'll take you back. There was a time in Uganda where the tourism sector, where the hotel sector was dominated by Kenyans, isn't it, Jen?
Yes, it is.
Every hotel you would go to, Kenyans. There was a time when the telecommunication, I want to mention companies here, it was totally Kenyans. Now, did Ugandans put up a fight?
No, they didn't.
What did Ugandans do? They learned and positioned themselves to occupy and did study to occupy these jobs. There is no South African who would choose to have a Ugandan instead of a South African, but unless two reasons. Their working ethics. Because it's very important. I was speaking to some of my friends who owned hotels by then. I was asking them, but a waiter, why would you pick one from Kenya? That time, you see these girls, they are determined, they are focused. She has come to be a waiter. When you bring a Ugandan girl, a zekwetega, a sawa tip like what? So they had to take them through orientation, to train them, assure them that if you've come here to serve, it is serve. This is not a place, if you want to go to the bar, wait a. So, why would a South African want work ethics? And work ethics is something you train yourself, you train your people. You don't accuse these foreigners because they're being given jobs and they're a priority too. Cheap labor. That a South African may charge so much. Yet this undocumented migrant, why have I said so? Because I've said even in Uganda they are there. Uganda examined the Indians in Uganda. Those who tell you I don't even have my passport. I was brought here, I'm working, I'm paying this. We have them. Go to Chikubo. One time the immigration carried out around downtown. How many illegal immigrants did they arrest or round up? Jane, I was following that story, there were so many. A Ugandan has a shop here selling these plastic sandals. Are they called Nigin or something like that? Then there's also an Asian next doing the same. A Ugandan has a salon here cutting hair. There is an Indian there. When these rounds came, these were undocumented. Have we killed them?
No.
Have we gone against them? What have we done? We've said, let's accept the competition.
But Chirabo, to add on that, don't we have South Africans who are in other countries, or should we say that those that are in other countries are there legally? They don't have such cases of having undocumented migrants in other countries that are from South Africa.
Well, let's first also take a look at our poll question this morning. Now it is as several African nations repatriate their citizens from South Africa over fears of xenophobic violence, what message does this send to the world? Please give us your views, give us your opinions. Jen will be reading them out on our various social media platforms. Our WhatsApp number is on your screen, and we'll be able to read your opinions. That is 0709 60 25 92. 0709 60 25 92. Send us a WhatsApp message or a text message on that number, and Jen will be reading it out. Yes, you are asking me, don't we have South Africans in other countries? Indeed, we do.
Are they all documented?
Well, that I cannot say so much, because one, South Africans play a low profile. It's in them. They don't like, you can identify Congolese, you can identify Nigerians, and their color mostly is more like Africans. They don't like, you look at Eritreans, you look at the Somalis or Indians or Chinese. So there is a way South Africans play a low profile compared to other people, like say the Congolese. When they are somewhere, you easily notice them. The bling bling, the what and all that, you can say that is a Congolese. The Nigerians, the accent is automatic. You know that this is a Nigerian. In accent, their body structure, something like that. So South Africans are not that very easy to identify.
So what does other countries have to learn from all this? What lessons do we learn from all this? Yes.
One, other countries, it is a time for them to learn that they must strengthen systems of ensuring that they don't have illegal immigrants in their countries or undocumented. Because now the world is a global village.
Yes.
And sometimes what happens in another country is easy to be adopted in another country. We have that issue. I was looking at sometimes these Gen Zs. Just because Uganda, when it comes to security, we mastered that. And we thank our president and the CDF for having a strong foundation. But there was a wave when you had funny riots. Because it is done here, it should be done there, it should be done there. So the world being a global village, other nations might not just look at this and say, that is South Africa and South Africans behaving that way. No. Should send a message to them that there is a problem, and we must address this problem. That leaving people to just come in. When was the last time our immigration officers made operations to curb illegal immigrants in Uganda? When was the last time that we saw Monde and group going downtown, carrying out operations and saying you're illegally staying in Uganda? These operations can happen maybe, to the best of my knowledge, but I stand to be corrected, maybe once in every 5 years.
So you're trying to say that immigration should start doing their job?
Doing their job.
Okay, I get
that. People must know that in these countries, you can't stay and have peace. Look at what this group is doing. They meet you. Hello, how are you? They question, show us your papers. I've seen some ladies having them in their, what do you call them?
So you have to move with your papers everywhere.
In the current situation. So, you know, but, so governments must deliberately clean it totally. That people in your country are there legally, they possess the paperwork. Then also, they must properly jobs that are done by foreigners and are done by the nationals. Why? I want to tell you, I'm a Ugandan. But recently I hosted a group of people from Kampala Capital City Authority, and we're talking about developments. If there is anything that annoys me, is when there is a road project that is being done in Uganda, and I see a foreigner driving a Sinotrack. You know? Ovuga chirole cha mayinja. Omusenyi?
No, I've not seen one before as
well. Oh, I've ever seen one.
Sure.
Yes, and I was like, but...
A foreigner?
Yes. Don't we have Ugandans? What technical what do you need? It befits me on a road being constructed by a loan from our old bank. If I see these foreigners, Nakauka Road, they are busy just directing. I want to see this as an expert, that we don't have that Ugandan who has that technical. So governments should outline clearly that these jobs
specifically for
should not be done by any foreigner. How would you wake up, Jen, and you're seated on a border and some Indian riding you? A Sudani left Sudan to ride border. You go to a saloon, an Indian. I see them at Old Kampala.
Which is very strange. I think I wouldn't.
Old Kampala. Cutting hair. How many Ugandan children have gone to this beautiful whatever, and they are paying to learn to...
So are they supposed to be doing these jobs, or they are not supposed to be doing them?
I'm not well conversant with what our law says, but at least I know for the refugees, they have the right to employment just like you do. Government gives them right to do anything. In Uganda, apart from national duties that include voting, you know, and possessing the country's IDs or nationality. So countries must streamline that. Then second, or third, because the first is guard their borders. Second, look at the issue of jobs. How do you ensure that even if you're an illegal migrant, we shall get you how? That my brother, that job you're doing is supposed to be for Nakasi, Arugendo, Anodong. Now, also what government learn from this is they must prepare their people to be able to work and do these jobs that sometimes they underrate. They must do a mindset change for their people. I'll give you an example in Uganda, Jane. A young man comes from the West. He comes, mtoro. He gets his wheel cut, then gets a chigar. Wakes up very early
in the morning.
Moves to a window. Buys whatever he's buying. Puts it on. Hawkers around. With the God's grace, cases he doesn't nab him. He makes money. Gets a decent house. 5 years when you go to his village, this man has done so much.
Yes.
Get a young boy from here, Central. Tell him, you know what? But this Mutoro, the way you call him, came here. And when he lost a relative, we went to bury for him. This is what we escorted him. This is what we found. But for you who wakes up and goes in the trading center, you know, don't you think you even have more clientele? Because they know you. So, yet every day this youth in the Central is disturbing you when he meets you. Present an So, countries must change the mindset of their people. Foreigners come in these countries, take on jobs where the natives don't want to do them. They amass wealth. They go home, build, educate their children and everything. Then they later live better lives. Then these next to useless nationals envy. Again saying, but remember this one when he came in South Africa. How did he look? The man now has a car. The man now is staying in an apartment. The man now has gone in real estate. Mindset change. I've given you that good example. Mindset change Previously, we had sons, so do not go in police, these don't go in army, these don't be watchmen, these. So when you do not change, when countries don't change the mindset
of their people,
but also, finally, governments must have deliberate efforts to fight poverty and empower the youth. Because the old people are not so much against these illegal immigrants. No, but the challenge is the youth who feel we should have jobs. Now, here I want to credit our government. Much as we've had challenges in some of these programs, but a program like Youth Livelihood, a program like GROW, a program like UWEP, a program like the Parish Development Model, I'm still analyzing it, how it's working for the youth. Not very, very certain. But there are programs I've seen that youth have come together. They have their small business. Then government, because they know that they can go and get some money, they get this money. You find that a few boys who began 5, they have expanded Jane, and now they're about 30, 50. Working. I've seen the welders do it, I've seen the mechanics do it, I've seen the carpenters do it, I've seen farmers do it. So government of Uganda has deliberately come up with programs. Look at the skilling, the various skilling centers. That, okay, you are a youth, but you're there. You went to school, don't have a job. Come and learn plumbing. You know, come and learn tailoring. Come and learn this. Then, I don't know if they're still doing it, they would even give them some startup capital.
They're doing it.
You know, that yes, you've learned welding. Now, you're going to be a welder. What do you need? Government says a machine. Government says, no, we're going to give you an M to raw materials and all this. You set up a gate, you set up a window. By the time you wake up, deliberate effort. But as long as some governments still believe that you're going to create a conducive environment. Some youth, that conducive environment without mindset change cannot penetrate to create employment. You deliberately must direct them. Don't assume that because someone has gone to school. I've seen very many people with degrees in fields I don't want to mention, even including journalists. I have a friend of mine, Kabombo Moses, we were together, a journalist. Now this man has a workshop. If he tells you how much he earns a day and how much you wait for a month, they're not in tandem. But he said, Robert, as I was looking for a job, we are here, they are there, I came across this welder and told me, John to call, come and try. He makes a get. What I've used plus everything is about 4 million. He's built. So governments, if they continue and they just think of, and finally, finally, when it comes to what other countries must learn, build strong security systems. I'm proud of Uganda, and I must say this. You see, sometimes certain things are a blessing in disguise. If those people were in South Africa, if the South Africans were in Uganda, and the government said you will not chase these people, we are aspiring for United Africa. I want to tell you, you will not even have 30 people assemble.
No, no. Ugandans are good people.
Leave alone good people. With our strong security system, even if they had whoever their leader is, governments should build systems. Let me tell you, Jane, in my preamble, I talked about when these Gen Zs were everywhere demonstrating. You remember? Kenya, they say we are extending to Tanzania. When they tried Uganda, they noticed things are very different. The security systems in place, that where are you going to assemble, hold pangas, Jane, the footage I'm seeing, hold pangas, hold sticks, that you're going to clobber people. You've already killed one Ugandan. I don't know how many countries have lost theirs. And you think that can happen here? It is unthought of. Because of the intelligence system that our government has built, we are proud of that, but also the money power to put you to order. I don't know if you just went and said we've given a deadline of 30th. If by 30th, if you're not in prison, you'd be in another place, a bit cold and something, and no one would follow you to send fellow Africans back home when they are not willing in a country. So those are systems. Here in Uganda, you're going to send people that way, you hold pangas and cameras cover you international and local. That if go, you'll be somewhere and you have no one following you. So that's some of the reasons. That's some of the things I think countries must learn and put in place.
Okay, now someone who is commenting on our daily poll is saying South Africa is trying to defy Pan-Africanism due to European influence. They believe at a certain extent that they aren't Africans. So for him, he would personally say that South Africa isn't independent yet. This is Baldwin Bwambale from Mokono.
They believe they're not Africans.
Yes, and for him, he thinks South Africa is not yet independent.
Now, when we see xenophobic attacks, an African on an African, and apartheid was the white man over an African, and they know very well, because in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, this is where we have. What is funny is South Africans cannot pretend to be not Africans. Why? Because the history happened in their own country. That the white man was clear, even if they are white South Africans. I think yes, white South Africans. But still they also know that yes, we could be called South Africans because we are born here, our great and all that. But the truth is they are not. And no South African, it would be foolhardy for them to believe that because the white man spent so long and the white man is still in their system, because I know South African judges were purely white. Much as the white man, the apartheid ended, but the white man still has a strong footprint on South Africa. But they are 100% Africans. Any South African who believes they're not sending away their own, I think that is foolhardy.
Okay, I want to end with Swaib from Arua City, who is saying, thank you so much for the program about eviction of fellow Africans from South Africa. To me, this is ridiculous and sectarian against others. There are so no South Africans working in other African countries. Shame upon you guys of South Africa. He's called Adama Swaib. So now we are going to be ending our
maybe before Adama, there's also something that just crossed my mind. These South Africans, if they stick to their mission, which is illegal immigrants, people that are not documented, maybe in one way to give them an iota of validity that they're helping their government enforce. That's why I called upon governments enforce to clean their country of illegal immigrants. And that's why I said countries must learn that when do you clean your country and don't wait for people to do it. But by and large, this act is not called for and it's not justified. Okay.
So now, thank you so much. We are going to be taking a short break, but before that, we stand with everyone that is being evacuated from South Africa. We stand with all the countries that are being affected by all these riots. And of course, there is hope. And we hope that as South Africa as a country looks into this, is being part of them. So we'll be taking a short break. Good Morning Uganda returns.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Uganda.
The World Football Spectacle is here! From the vibrant cities of Canada, the passion of Mexico, and the grand stages of the United States, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is set to ignite the planet! Every goal, every save, every moment of glory history, live and unforgettable on UBC TV and all its radio stations.
From the streets of Rio to the night and day.
Follow Africa's finest, football's biggest stars, and the battle for the most converted trophy in world football.
1, 3, 1, chance to play.
Where legends rise, dreams come alive, and history is made. UBC is the home of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Stay tuned to UBC TV and all UBC's radio stations, bringing the world to Uganda, one match at a time.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Okay, I'm called Godfrey Okwaimungu, a staff from Nal Safari, also a resident of this community. This community is called Mubaku village. The tribe in it are Alur and Bagungu, but majority are Alur. Here, how their lifestyle, what they eat, they feed on local bread and local sauce. As what has been happening right now here, they've made local vegetable. In our language, Alur is called utigo. So that bread, it is not made with cooking oil. Just what they do, they pick the leaves from the bush. Then after picking, they make They make ginat or simsim seed. They grind it. After grinding, it becomes very smooth. So when they're preparing the sauce, they put hot water in the pot. Then with the catalyst which they make, they burn ashes into a pot. Then it drills the water. They put water in it, and then it drills. Then that catalyst is used in the sauce. After the water becomes hot in the pot, they apply the vegetable in it. Then they apply the catalyst. The catalyst make it to become slippery, and also it breaks the hard tissues of the plant. So when it is made, when it's all ready, so they apply the ginat, which they have grinded. It has become fine. They add into the sauce to make the sauce. The whole process takes like 40 to 1 hour. Then after that, the bread, it is the cassava flour. The cassava is grown from the garden, which takes like 9 to 1 year. Then they uproot it, they make it dry under sunshine. Then they pound it with the mortar. After pounding, it becomes soft in form of flour. Then they make hot water. Then that flour they add in the water. Then they mingle the bread. It is the local bread. So after mingling the bread, the process of bread takes like 20 to 30 minutes. So they make the bread. After making the bread, they put in the plate, so they get the sauce. They also serve the food. After serving the food, they bring all the items that are prepared onto the mat. So they call the family members, starting with the kids and the elders. They all come together as one family. So everybody gather at one point on the mat. Then they wash their hands. After washing their hands, they say a prayer. After saying a prayer, then they eat. When people are many in the family, the elders, maybe the father and the mother of the family, for them they squat. The young ones sit in front, so the follows, then the elders sit behind. So they eat as one. That's how the process of food takes place in this community. Thank you. Basically, they are peasant farmers. Everyone keeps in the garden, cultivating for their own consumption. It is not for sale, they just make it for the survival. Yes, the kids, they have their games, they play. Actually, in the morning when the elders go to the garden, for them to remain grazing the goats and looking after the chicken in the family and also playing their games. So when the parents come back, they also help the parents in cooking when maybe they're taking long in the garden. So the kids, they have the opportunity, they fetch firewood, they fetch water for the family. Then in the evening, after they're done with all their work, they play before they sleep. The family gather, different families, they all come together as kids, then they play as one. Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Nal Safari, I take it as one of the best lodge in Uganda because I take it myself. I have worked so far in this lodge for 4 years. So this lodge, they help their staff so well in every social life, in every what you need. When you communicate with them, they are very responsible. They respond so quickly. And not only the staff, the lodges in the community, this very community. So they also help community. Like of recent, they have been picking litters in the community, the trading centers around the community, whereby they donated metallic litter bins, 4 of them in the community, and again we have boreholes in the community whereby when they get spoiled, they have like 4 or 5 of them. When they get spoiled, the company always come in when the local council one communicate to them. They have been responding whereby they repair those boreholes. Yeah, and also we normally associate with the community boys, whereby we normally organize football matches with them to make that friendly mood with them. That's what the company always does for us, the staffs and the community, which has made the community to love the company so much.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore. Pick of the day on UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from Tourism Express, and now we are glad that you are still part of us. You are watching UBC Good Morning Uganda, and we are coming to you live from Nile Avenue, and of course this is GMU Business. And in our first story this morning, Uganda's annual average inflation for the financial year 2025-2026 has reported an increase of 3.7%. up from 32% recorded in the 2024 statistics. UBO says inflationary pressures varied across the country, Kampala and Masaka recording the highest inflation impact rates, while the Acholi sub-region registered the lowest.
The Bureau of Statistics says headline inflation has increased, reflecting a continued rise in the prices of goods and services consumed by households.
From March 2026, where we had recorded a 2.8, 23, 3.2, now it's 3.7.
According to the latest Consumer Price Index report, Kampala and Masaka recorded the highest inflation rates among the urban centers surveyed, indicating that consumers in the two cities are facing the greatest pressure.
It was recorded in Kampala High. The second highest was recorded in Masaka district, and it was recorded at 4.1% for June 2026 compared to the 3.9% that we recorded in May 2026.
On the other hand, Arua registered the lowest inflation impact rate during the period under other regions.
So the least inflation, or where we saw the minimum inflation, was registered at Arua, our Arua center. So we see it at 2.2% for June 2026 compared to the 2.4% that we recorded in May 2026.
Economists warn that sustained inflation reduces consumers' purchasing power, particularly affecting low-income households that spend a larger share of their income on essential goods.
So the prices of petrol in June this year compared to June last year have increased by 26.3%. We have diesel prices. Diesel prices have also increased by 37.3% in June 2026 compared to the 21.5% that was recorded in May 2026.
Despite the regional differences, UBO says it will continue monitoring price movements across the country to provide timely and reliable data that informs government policy and guides economic planning. The latest inflation figures come as households and businesses continue to grapple with the rising cost of living, with many hoping that measures to stabilize prices will ease the financial burden. Reporting for UBC.
Now, pharmaceutical manufacturer Cipla Quality Chemicals Industries Limited has posted a record financial performance for the 2025-2026 financial year, underscoring the growing strengths of the country's pharmaceutical sector and increasing demand for locally produced medicines. During its annual general meeting in Kampala, the company announced an 8.8% rise in revenue to 290.5 billion shillings, alongside a significant increase in profit after tax. Company leaders attributed the performance to improved operational efficiency, effective cost management, and expanded market penetration across Africa. The firm says its Africa-centered growth strategy, anchored on increased manufacturing capacity, innovation, and regional partnership, will continue to drive long-term expansion as the region seeks to strengthen medicine security and reduce dependency on imports. We have a report.
Cipla Quality Chemical Industries Limited has announced a record financial performance for the 2026 financial year, reflecting strong growth in the country's pharmaceutical sector, driven by rising demand for essential medicines and expanded regional manufacturing capacity.
We are looking for a better delivery mechanism of the product, like the effervescent tablet we are speaking about. We're testing the market with it. We look for newer products, newer developments, specifically in lifestyle category. We're doing better combination therapies rather than individual molecules, so we're mixing two different molecules which can give you a larger effect. Suppose you are a diabetic, but you have a kidney. So the innovation is on the product, innovation is in terms of how the delivery is of the product, and innovation is how we reduce the cost of manufacturing.
If you recall, 20 years ago, about 400 people were dying of malaria every day. Today, that has been tremendously reduced.
Shareholders were informed that revenue rose by 8.8% to 290.5 billion shillings, with profit after tax also recording a strong increase, supported by improved operational efficiency, effective cost control, and sustained demand across key African markets. Chairman Emmanuel Katongole said the performance reflects strong corporate governance, disciplined strategy, and effective oversight by the board, adding that Africa-centered growth strategy remains central to long-term expansion, with continued investment in capacity building, innovation, and regional partnerships.
Today, we are Sub-Saharan Africa's #1 when it comes to our area of focus. HIV/AIDS, malaria, hepatitis B, and now sickle cell. We concentrate on solving these problems in Uganda and then go out to the rest of Africa.
Chief Executive Officer Ajay Kumar Pal said the results demonstrate successful execution of the company's strategy, supported by operation improvements and wider market expansion across Africa. He reaffirmed commitment to providing affordable quality medicines while strengthening the company's footprint and delivering sustainable shareholder value.
I think we have three legs of strategy: access, availability, and affordability. Access, again, as we have shared, is predominantly to make sure best-in-class products are available to the population we serve. It should not be that we are a 50-year-old molecule we are trying to supply. We're trying to see that if there is a new molecule, a latest drug, that should be accessible. Availability is by manufacturing, and affordability is the sum of those two.
Now, the financial year 2026-2027 kicks off tomorrow with newly proposed taxes coming into effect. Traders have expressed their thoughts on how new taxes and tax increment on various commodities should be implemented. 84.3 trillion Ugandan shillings.
The national budget for the financial year 2026-2027 comes into effect tomorrow, with various priorities projected to consume 84.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. According to government, 44.18 trillion will be raised from taxes collected.
The financing strategy for financial year 2026-2027 seeks to create additional fiscal space to finance government priorities while maintaining debt sustainability. This will be achieved through, number one, strengthening tax administration and compliance. Two, introducing targeted tax policy measures to increase domestic revenue.
To achieve this, government introduced new taxes and tax increments on various businesses and commodities like clothes, sugar, fuel, cement and building materials. However, in a mixed reactions of ideas, traders expressed their thoughts on how best they will operate their businesses and cognizant of tax compliance.
Expect that these businesses, it is going to continue. It is still moving on. But there is some changes that have been made in URA. So we are calling upon all our customers, those are traders outside Kampala and the other cities and municipalities, think about those increased taxes that we have, that the government has made. Tomorrow, all are going to be increased.
But also, they advise government on how to handle them when tax compliance fails due to conditions beyond their control.
For us, we are calling upon our government to consult the leaders of the traders, to work with them so that some changes can be made in the URA. Because when we work together, automatically we can help these traders, at least that one it can help, and we increase on our tax base.
Joseph Chigozi-Gorola reporting for UBC.
And now that brings us to the end of our GMU business this morning. Thank you so much once again for being part of us, and of course to the hustlers downtown. Today I am talking to you. We all know you are trying and everyone else is trying. Don't give up. One day you are going. This morning, my name is Jane Ramcha, and my colleague Robert Chilabo returns with GMU Agenda. Good morning.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, may don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
The World Football Spectacle is here! From the vibrant cities of Canada, the passion of Mexico, and the grand stages of the United States, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is set to ignite the planet! Every goal, every save, every glory, live and unforgettable on UBC TV and all its radio stations.
From the streets of Rio to the night and day.
Follow Africa's finest, football's biggest stars, and the battle for the most converted trophy in world football. Where legends rise, dreams come alive, and history is made. UBC is the home of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Stay tuned to UBC TV and all UBC's radio stations, bringing the world to Uganda, one match at a time.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
In a land rich with culture, resilience and untold stories, and new stories about to unfold. Introducing Inside Karamoja, a fresh and inspiring look into the heart of Karamoja. This is who we are. Our voices matter. The future starts here. Discover emerging talents, hear from experts, and connect with stories that matter. Get ready to see Karamoja like never before. Inside Karamoja, coming soon, only on UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Across communities once silenced by fear and tradition, voices are rising to end female genital mutilation. Men are redefining manhood, not through strong muscles, but through understanding, protection, and responsibility. Survivors are rebuilding their lives, transforming pain into purpose and economic independence. Their story, new future. Faith leaders are reshaping moral voices within communities, standing against harm and defending the dignity of girls.
I tell you, the people of Sabay sub-region, to end FGM, to end FGM, to end FGM.
Young survivors are breaking the silence, speaking not only for themselves, but for those who never lived to tell their stories.
I am now a champion for FGM, and I am serving as an example in a community.
From grassroots movements to government intervention, the resistance against FGM is growing stronger.
Already the ministers asked that we share the curriculum. We want it to be part of the informal education process that will be supported by the Ministry of Gender.
For survivors escaping violence and rejection, gender-based violence shelters have become places of healing, safety, and hope. They help girls rebuild their lives beyond trauma.
So when they run to the shelter, we give them temporary accommodation, including those that are being battered for many other reasons. They come and they shelter them for a while. And in the process of sheltering, we provide counseling.
Ending FGM begins when communities unite, speak out, and choose dignity over fear. Voices rising, the movement to end female genital mutilation. Coming soon on UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning.
Executive Director at the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Julie.
It's a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure having you, and thank you for having us. I thank the UBC and all those who are viewing us this morning.
Right.
I'm glad to be here to share what we are doing and how we are progressing.
Definitely looking forward to a lot and plethora of information and wisdom that we are getting from you regarding Uganda Wildlife Authority, the wildlife altogether that impacts the tourism sector of Uganda, but most importantly, domestic tourism at that. You know, where there's knowledge.
Yes.
There's a lot of passion that draws from the knowledge that allows someone's curiosity. dig it from the preamble.
Yes.
What is the Uganda Wildlife Authority, for the benefit of our viewer and someone who's in the country for the first time and might be wondering, what is UWA?
Yes, thank you, Julie. The Uganda Wildlife Authority, UWA is stands for the Uganda Wildlife Authority, and this is an institution, a statutory body that has been set up by the Uganda Wildlife Act, basically to manage wildlife in Uganda, both within and outside protected areas. The authority basically exists to manage, working with partners. It is a joint effort that we work together to manage wildlife protected areas. In other words, all wild animals and wild plants that are found in Uganda's national parks, in Uganda's wildlife reserves, on community land, out of the Uganda Wildlife Authority in terms of management. And it's quite a huge mandate, because at the moment we manage about 10 national parks, with some wildlife reserves being turned into national parks, so the mandate is going to expand. We have about 12 wildlife reserves, we have community wildlife areas, we have sanctuaries. So it's quite a huge national mandate that we've been given to manage wildlife in trust on behalf of the people of Uganda, and in a partnership and collaboration with the various stakeholders, including the people of Uganda, the communities. That's why we sometimes come out and create awareness about the value of conserving wildlife, about the role that the Ugandans need to play themselves, because we must protect, conserve wildlife together so that it can contribute to the economy of Uganda, and we all benefit in the long run. So it is for the benefit of all stakeholders that are involved, so that we turn wildlife into benefit to Ugandans and the global community. Because when you talk about wildlife contributing to tourism, you have the global community coming here, you have the domestic tourists. If we talk about conservation, you talk about ecosystem functioning and balance. We need each other. The plants, animals need each other with the people and communities, so that we can have a balanced ecosystem.
Looking at the whole report that was released by the Uganda Wildlife Authority, 28th April 2026. This report shared a bit of statistics here and there. It showed that buffalo numbers increased from 32,235 buffaloes to 41,548 buffaloes. The Uganda cobs increased from 166,526 to 175,109. The waterbuck populations also rose strongly. Rhinos, gorillas and chimpanzees continue to show a positive conservation outcome, but then there are species that are still under pressure. For example, the elephant population, it was monitored and discovered that it declined. The number declined from 6,621 as of 2021 to 2022 and decreased to 6,352 as of 2023 and 2024, the years. Lions populations also declined from 314 to 291 during the same period. These numbers show a 50-50 on the good and the bad. Do you think Uganda is winning or losing the battle to conserving wildlife?
Thank you very much, Julie, for that great question. Uganda is actually winning. Uganda is winning the battle. Uganda is winning in terms of wildlife conservation as a result of a number of factors. As you have read the trends, because we did a trend analysis and looked at the wildlife population growth trends over the years, and have realized, as you actually pointed out, that there is generally an exponential increase in the number of wildlife species that we have, apart from a few. So the success is largely attributed to the various efforts that have been put in place in terms of wildlife conservation. And these include, one, awareness creation and partnership with the stakeholders, what is in our mission, that we must bring other stakeholders on board for us to be able to conserve the wildlife. So we've created conservation education. There is a whole department now in the structure of the Uganda Wildlife Authority to do with community conservation and extra wildlife services. In other words, we bring on board the communities through awareness creation, through talk shows like this we are having. We do outreaches to schools using audiovisual materials, but we also allow entrance to the national parks for people to appreciate firsthand and practically. We also go to schools through outreaches. We have audiovisual materials like vans and that have videos. So we go town by town, school by school, educating and rallying support. Because the most important thing is for us as Ugandans, who are the stewards for these resources, to appreciate that these resources belong to us. They don't belong to the government. They don't belong to Uganda Wildlife Authority. They don't belong to His Excellency the President, but rather they belong to all of us Ugandans. And once we have that in mind, and we apply a patriotic mind, then we are able to protect these resources. We are able to work with the authorities to work on the challenges that are caused by these wildlife resources. Of course, there has been law enforcement efforts. We've been able to acquire the required equipment, the required protective gear for our staff, improved welfare for staff. We have drones that we employ. We have employed rangers. Right now we are training more, over 1,000 are in the training camp, so that we can use both poaching, but also we use technology. We use drones, we use Earth Ranger systems to be able to follow our animals in real time. I'll give you an example. When we got an unfortunate incident when some lions were poisoned in Queen Elizabeth, it took us less than a week to be able to track the wrongdoers, because we just followed the movement of the animals and we ended up where they were poisoned from, and they are now facing prosecution as we talk right now. So a combination of both the rangers on the ground who are adequately trained in data collection and analysis and then trained to the technological system, use of the drones. So both technology and personnel on the ground, creation of awareness. We have put in place a canine unit now. We are able to sniff all illegal wildlife products that are going out of this country through Entebbe International Airport, through the border points in Karuma, and now it is a problem, or we catch anybody who would like to go away with illegal wildlife products. We have put in place a forensic DNA laboratory, wildlife forensic DNA laboratory. We are able to tell that this is ivory and is coming from this country, because we are able to test the DNA of what we have found you with. And so that helps in prosecution, because we are able to bring hard evidence that is from the lab that is going to tell that this is not goat meat, this is not cow meat, but rather buffalo meat or impala meat, and so we are able to carry out strong prosecution. There has been, of course, other efforts, capacity building in the authority. There is a new structure. The authority was merged with the Uganda Wildlife Education Center, and a new structure was developed. And now the institution is fully capacitated. We are carrying out a lot of training, refresher training for the law enforcement officers. We now have a dedicated training school as the Uganda Wildlife Authority. We have set up our own training school in one of our protected areas, where we take our officers, men, and all the categories of staff to undergo refresher training, because we must continuously bring on board the trends. We must go with the changing technology. So the training is helping in changing the mindset, the attitude, the behavior of the staff, for us to form one culture that scores in one goal. And also we have also introduced a zero tolerance to poaching policy, zero tolerance to fraud policy, and these are helping to be able to have a solid institution that is fighting poaching, that is fighting illegal wildlife. illegal markets, we shall go for them, because now we have the capacity to tell and take you to court and have successful prosecution, because we have the scientific evidence to differentiate between domestic meat and wild meat. And so we are coming, we are going for them. So that is the truth.
All right.
Yeah.
It's quite relieving to know that there are also wildlife user rights, and there are classes to this wildlife user rights. A lot of things that we get to learn and relearn. And I hope the war that was going on social media regarding this particular restaurant and many other restaurants, high-end restaurants that deal in bush meat, I hope now some answers are now starting to put a ray of light on your perspective. You are watching UBC TV, and this morning we are looking at the station with Dr. James Musinguzi, the Executive Director of the Uganda Wildlife Authority. A plethora of information that we are using to learn, unlearn, and relearn, so that whatever argument we table, we are tabling it from a perspective that is well educated and informed at that. Ask that question, share your opinion, 0709-602592, or even your experience to the same number. It's a WhatsApp number. You can engage and be part of the conversation. Now, Dr. Musinguzi, allow me engage some of the views coming in from our viewer. Rhinos were at the verge of extinction. UA has managed to return them to various parks and reserves after decades. What does this mean to Uganda Wildlife Authority? That's question number one from Just, I think you're called Just. And then you go on to ask, the opening of the Mbale Satellite Zoo, do we see other regions with mini zoos getting a chance to have similar opening and promoting these zoos under UA? That's question number two. And question three from the same author, conservation is still a challenge among the local communities. Who happens to find wildlife, or who happen to find wildlife and kill these animals especially? Snakes, among others, were measures reach grassroots in terms of conservation. All those are three questions from one author. You didn't leave your particular name, but thank you so much for watching the show. Another viewer says, Mfuluma Innocent, listening in from Kasese Municipality. Thank you for the program. Thank you, Innocent, for being on the show. And good morning, Uganda. I'm Raymond Tabazi from Gayaza, Kampala. I love the show. Thank you so much, Raymond, for being on the show. Good morning. Today, since it's now a changing Uganda, we hope to get improvement in legality of our wildlife sections. Have a good day. And let me just get into one final one. Good morning, moderator and the ED of UA. I'm humbled to be part of this discussion. I have this concern. There's an ongoing wildlife conflict on human beings that have time to time resulted into death of minors under the age of 5 in Masindi, especially in Budongo and Nyantonde. Chimpanzee attacks through your respective district offices, yet all in vain, leaving the affected persons or families not helped. How do you help this situation? We have evidence of the cases both at police and Masindi office. Praise Secretary Social Services, Nyantonze Sub-County. So far, we'll leave it at that. We'll engage more of the comments coming as the show goes on. Doctor, you can start engaging some of the views that have been shared.
Okay. I want to appreciate the people who are viewing the show and actually engaging, which shows they are very interested in what we are talking about. Thank you. Yes, Uganda has registered a successful story for rhinos. The rhinos got extinct. The last rhino was seen. The government came up to globally, if we are to make it a reality that tourism is going to be part of the 4 sectors to transform our economy 10 times, then we must innovate and do things differently. And so the government of Uganda, working with the, through the Uganda Wildlife Authority, has multiplied the rhino numbers from 0 indigenously found. It was not indigenously found here. Another species were found here. In Uganda, we indigenously had the eastern black rhino and the northern white. Unfortunately, they got extinct. So the government of Uganda introduced a southern white rhino species, multiplied from 0 to 61, which is a great effort. And as a result of that, the multiplication has happened at Zwa Rhino Sanctuary, which is one of the wildlife user rights ranching. And so as a result of this success, we have made a strategic decision to take the rhinos back into the wild, by ensuring that the rhinos go into the wild. It is a historical moment in Uganda that after all those years, we've been able to take rhinos to Ajai Wildlife Reserve. As I talk right now, Ajai is earning money because of the tourists that are going there to see the rhinos. We also took the rhinos to Chidepo Valley National Park. Now, the northern white rhino, unfortunately, we only have 2 females left that are found in Ojepeta in Kenya. But of course, research is ongoing to ensure that embryos of the northern white rhinos are put in the southern white rhinos as surrogate mothers to be able to reproduce the northern white rhino. That's where we are with that. But when it comes to the eastern black rhino, because Uganda had 2 indigenous species, the eastern black rhino and the northern white, we are working with our neighbor black rhino, which was indigenous in this country. We are a step ahead of that. We are negotiating. We want to have the indigenous rhino come back. The southern white rhino is thriving and doing very well, so that when you come to Uganda, you're able to see the species of the rhinos, both the southern white and the eastern black. For the northern white, there are only 2 females left, and they are in Kenya, and there are efforts to be able to multiply others to produce the northern white. So yes, a lot of effort has been put in place. This was one, but also the National Development Plan 4, to have rhinos go into the wild so that we promote our country as a premier destination for tourism and conservation in the world. As I talk right now, a tourist is able to go to Chidepo and see all the big 5 animals that they are looking for, and also come down to see the +2, the chimpanzees and the gorillas in Mugahinga and Windi Impenetrable National Park. So yes, we are very, very happy and thank the government of Uganda for the support that we were able to have the efforts by Ugandans. This translocation of rhinos was done by us Ugandans. Nobody from outside was involved. So what we did, we had the Ugandans, the staff of the Uganda Life Authority, they went to Kenya and underwent training. We thank the Kenyan government through Kenya Wildlife Service. They trained them and they have been able to translocate these rhinos ourselves as Ugandans, and that's great because when we build capacity, our country grows. Regarding Mbale Zoo, yes, this is another milestone that we have registered. Julia, if we are to achieve wildlife conservation sustainably, we involve everybody. We must create awareness. We must change the mindset and attitude of people towards wildlife conservation, because in some areas when you talk about wildlife, they say, that is for UA. How does it intersect with me as an individual? That's not my business. It is your business. It is the business of all us Ugandans to conserve wildlife, both wild plants and wild animals, so that through that we are able to visit them domestically. We want to also promote domestic tourism, but also receive the foreigners who come, because we should be able to position ourselves to benefit from the booming tourism sector, that we can be able to set up a homestead, train as guides, so that we can benefit from this tourism. So yes, we set up a zoo in Mbale, and the purpose is to take conservation closer to the people, is to take conservation education awareness, and they are able to appreciate the value of wildlife, but also to boost the economy of the area. I want to tell you, you have people who have been employed from the region, you have people who are supplying food to this zoo, a local farmer. This zoo. They are going to grow their chicken and bring eggs and supply them to this zoo through organized groups. So there is a multiplier effect. We are able to teach people about wildlife conservation. We rally their support because we have a concept that we use to change people's mindset and behavior. CUA, connect, understand, and act. When you go and visit Mbale Zoo, you get a connection. Very far from them. To them, we create a connection, and once they are connected, they understand the value of the wildlife, both to the economy of Uganda, but also to the ecosystem functioning. What role do plants play? What roles do animals play? Causes like waste management. We need to manage waste in our communities so that we don't clog the streams, the rivers, so that we carry out preventive medicine, because practicing and the schools that used to come to Entebbe spending overnight with food, food that has been prepared. They would suffer, you know, from the effects of regions. I want to thank the national like West Nile.
Right.
As long as we can be able to collaborate with the local authorities and we get land, we want to reach to the people, promote domestic tourism. We want Ugandans to be involved in domestic tourism. To some Ugandans, when we talk about tourism, we must get involved. That's why we are bringing these facilities closer to you, because when you go and visit this zoo, you are supporting a Ugandan to get a job, you are supporting a supplier to supply more, and through that, everybody is getting into the money economy as advocated for by our president. And once we get into the money economy, then we shall be able to go into the upper middle class as advocated for by our president and the government. So we are coming to all regions so that we can bring these centers closer to the people for awareness creation, change of attitude, mindset, and behavior, because we want positive conservation action. It comes as a result of a mind which is aware and conscious about what is happening. Conservation is still a challenge to the local communities. Yes, we need to do more awareness. One of the areas we are going to start working on this coming financial year is setting up some livelihood coaching, are doing it as a result of having nothing else to engage more and see how to register the unemployed youths, to see how we can involve them in livelihood enterprises and also involve them in working for the Uganda Wildlife Authority so that they are occupied. Once they are occupied and busy and are able to earn some income, they will get away from the issue of poaching. But otherwise, we are creating more awareness. We are going to create more livelihood options. Awareness through shows like this. We are going to come through our audiovisual materials. We have wildlife conservation and the value market days, where we have a number of people so that people appreciate how they can actually benefit. We give 20% of all our revenue that we collect from tourism in our national parks. We give it back to the communities, what we call revenue sharing. And this revenue sharing is helping the communities to put up projects of their choice. And we are doing some bit of amendment in this revenue sharing to target homesteads and communities that are living around protected areas. Can they, for example, benefit from scholarships? We want to see if a child from a parish that is neighboring a national park is educated using a wildlife scholarship fund. This person will never poach. This person will advocate against poaching. Able to create change and mindset change and attitude as well as behavior, so that in the long run we really support for everybody. So we are trying to change. Of course, it's an issue of the law, and we think that we shall get support. How this wildlife fund from revenue sharing can be better utilized, but at the moment we give it to the authorities in the local communities, local councils, and they agree with the communities what projects to undertake, whether a road or a health center or a school. As pointed out, and also create livelihood options. Mr. Chanda from Nyantungo raised an issue of human-wildlife conflicts. This is a very good observation. I agree. We have this as one of our challenges. Human-wildlife conflict is a national challenge. Julia, one thing we must know is that the population is growing. The land size is not changing. It's still the same. And there is pressure. There is pressure on the resources. There is pressure on the national parks. People are looking for land for cultivation. People are looking for land for housing. But also, the animal population is growing. You have just read the statistics that the population of animals is actually growing, apart from lions and elephants, which is actually explainable. We have a challenge with lions of infanticides. The male lions kill the young males because they don't want them to grow up and compete with them. But that one, we are working on them by collaring these animals and following them up where they go so that we can be able to control them. Of course, the other challenge is poaching and poisoning, where people have been poisoning our lions. But now we are using Earth Ranger, which is a system that is able to make us monitor our animals in real time. So we collar the male lions and are able to follow them. We are collaring the mantrax, the male elephants as well, which lead the groups, so that we are able to follow them on screen in real time to see where they are going. When they are approaching the boundary and stuff to bring them back. We are also creating the field or in the national parks, collaborate with social science employed by the Uganda Wildlife Authority, so that we can create early warning systems. And they are straying out of the park, our people should be able to alert the communities. But also we should be able to follow the seasonality. If it's a season of harvesting, then we put the communities on higher alert. We should be able to advise the communities around the national parks which crops, so that they can be able to benefit. Yes, human-wildlife conflict is a problem, and we are addressing it through various means. One of them is ensuring that we create awareness, put in place early warning systems, but also compensation for wildlife losses. If you lose your crops, if you lose your dear ones, the law, they were put in place wildlife compensate that individual. The challenge is that the process is a bit lengthy because we must verify. Otherwise, people can say they have lost a person or crops or property, which is not true. But we need the records, so we must be able to follow up this case. We want to take this to the conservation area level, so that compensation is done at the park level where the problem has happened, so that we quicken the process. We are also procuring an online application using technology, so that we are able to get the complainant whose crops have been damaged, enter that data immediately it has happened, do the verification, send to Kampala for approval, and then we pay. And then we can pay at the national park level. So yes, I know that there has been some delay, but we are working very hard to improve the compensation and payment process, but it must remain authentic, so the due process has to be followed for us to be able to be sure that we are paying the right person, because at the end of the day, we are audited and we must be able to account for the funds, whom did we pay, and we were sure that this person deserved payment. As a result of mitigating human wildlife conflicts, we also allow resource access. That's one of the wildlife user rights, where we allow communities to access some resources from the national parks under an ecological monitoring program. We are also allowing the communities to place beehives at the boundary of the national park. Beehives to produce honey, and then the communities benefit because they're able to sell this honey. They sell and get money. The bees don't see eye to eye with elephants, and so they help us to chase back the elephants. We're also digging trenches, we are digging elephant we're building elephant walls. All of this is aimed at making sure that the crops they have put in place. The government has now put in place the parish investing this money in crops, agriculture, so we must be able to work together to ensure that these people harvest their crops and of the national parks. But of course, this must be done by also leaving some corridors for the elephants, for example, used to roam all the way from down south, up north, going all through, all from Queen, going out, all up north, Asorolim, up to Sudan. But now when they try to go, they find homesteads. And so their migratory routes have been blocked. So we are trying to fence off. People are sleeping. And we are fencing, but also leaving some corridors for these animals to be able to roam. And we are also trying to talk to communities to turn their land into profits when it comes to tourism. For example, if you have land and there are animals on that land, it's not a national park, it's private land, that animal, or those animals are still under the jurisdiction of Uganda Wildlife Authority. But as an individual, as a family, you can use this land, you can use these animals, you set up a private conservancy or a ranch. We are happy to license it so that we bring you tourists and you benefit from these animals through tourism without even having to go through agriculture. So we just need to educate more, talk to our communities about sustainable wildlife and land utilization. You can actually earn a lot more money from tourism, from these animals that are on your land, more than you would earn from agriculture. So we shall continue educating, we shall continue compensating, and we shall continue working together to mitigate the issues of wildlife, human wildlife conflicts. But the truth is that they are with us because the land size is not changing, the population of animals and of individuals is increasing, so we must manage that balance as we go along. Specifically for the chimpanzees, I really commiserate with the families that have lost their dear ones through chimpanzee attacks, especially in the Bunyoro region. I want to assure you that we are working on this problem. We have bought land in Mhoro in Kagadi, and the plan is to turn this land into a chimpanzee sanctuary so that we get all the surrounding chimpanzees and put them in this sanctuary. We have also identified, rightly identified, the chimpanzees that have been killing, especially in the Bunyoro Kagadi area. And I'm glad to inform the public that we have located them to the wildlife center, and we should be able to have peace. But the ultimate goal is to make sure all the surrounding or moving chimpanzees are captured and put into this sea island. But we have also identified another island in Lake Victoria, over 1 square mile, for us to be able to move all the problematic chimpanzees from all that belt, from Bunyoro, so that we are able to create peace and harmony in the communities.
Right.
Yeah.
Very well. Thank you. A plethora of information that is very helpful to all of us as Ugandans as we learn, unlearn and relearn on the state of wildlife conservation here in Uganda. 0709-602-592. Now, our time is really fast spent, but Doctor, allow me just engage a few comments here as we begin to close the conversation. Opio in Soroti says, Doctor, I have a 10-acre piece of land and need to graze cob. Can I partner with UA? That is a question there. And someone else comes through and says, good morning, thank you for the show. And then Mark from Kaliro, you're asking about World Cup. Okay, that'll be for some other time. Good morning, I'm Munyango Felix, broadcasting from Tororo. In my view, we urge the government to revamp Tororo Zoo, and this may enable us create more job opportunities. Find where to preserve other species of rhinos being talked and boost our revenue. Goes to Wildlife Authority as well. Country. Thank you for being on the show indeed. And Doctor, as you've noted, those also allow me ask if the Uganda Wildlife Authority is prepared to deal with wildlife diseases and climate-related pressures that come with the ecosystem.
Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Julia. Thank you very much, Opio from Soroti. I am glad that you're able to utilize your 10-acre piece of land for wildlife conservation and to have a conversation. A lot of people are now turning to wildlife conservation, wildlife ranching, wildlife farming, and I want to tell you, you won't go wrong because you'll be able to get the adequate resources and funding and income from this. So please come. Talk to us. We shall give you the procedures. You're supposed to apply for a license. We shall send you the Wildlife User Rights Committee, which comprises experts who will come and look at your land and look at the available resources that are required for these animals to thrive. They will come and advise you. And you are ready to we are ready to work with you. Just come and we'll give you expert advice because you need to come. We must have a veterinary plan. How are they going to be looked after in terms of veterinary interventions and welfare? Because the animals we give you must remain alive. We have to be sure they remain alive. So we are happy to partner with you. Tororo Zoo, yes, an opportunity there being proposed. What I want to say is that the government will not be. People want them everywhere. I want to encourage private individuals. The law, the wildlife user rights I talked about, allow you as an individual or as a family to actually set up a zoo. You can apply to set up a zoo as an individual if you have your money, and you can earn from it. The truth is that it's capital intensive for you to invest, but once you start reaping, then you will have to benefit with other generations to come. So I encourage private individuals, the private sector. These are opportunities. Come, we shall give you the technical capacity for you to be able to set up a zoo, to set up a wildlife ranch, to set up a wildlife center. You can have a hotel and you would like some wildlife roaming around to attract tourists and visitors. Please come. Let us utilize the wildlife that God has given us so that we can even create insurance populations. Should there be any problem in the wild, then we are able to get. Ask about wildlife diseases.
And related climate pressures.
Yes, climate pressures. There is a climate shift that is happening, and as a result, we have actually felt it in our national parks. We have species, for example, of plants, invasive plant species that have attacked our national parks. We have a lot of native species that are proliferating now is to ensure we manage mechanical means, we remove physically. We are piloting the biological means, working with the National Forest, with the National Agricultural Research Organization to see how we can use the biological method. But for now, we are using the mechanical method where we remove mechanically. We are also, of course, dealing with drought, and we are sinking dams for our animals so that during the drought they are able to have animals to enjoy in the parks, and this creates a very good experience for the tourists. So we are sinking dams. I want to thank again the government of Uganda. Through the IFPA-CD World Bank project, we have been able to acquire plant equipment that is going to help us. We have got bulldozers, graders, tractors, and excavators, and we are going to give each conservation area a road unit, a unit that is able to open the roads, create more tracks for tourists to view the animals, remove invasive species so that our animals can roam very freely, because they avoid where the invasive species are, because there is no palatable grass. But once you remove the invasive species, you plant palatable grass, then the animals will be roaming. If you sink dams, the animals will be coming to the dams, enjoying the water. And so we are applying all these methods to see that we deal with climate shift. We have also set up a state-of-the-art level 2 laboratory in Queen Elizabeth National Park, which is world class, that is able to detect any disease at any one time. We have also set up, enhanced our laboratory at Entebbe Zoo, Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, where we've also set up the Wildlife Forensic Laboratory. We have a lab there that is able to detect any disease. So we have set up a robust veterinary division that has employed a number of veterinary doctors. We are now setting up a mobile veterinary unit which is able to start and go at any one time to sort out any problem. We also have ambulances. We are actually planning to have wildlife ambulances per conservation area so that we are able to intervene. If there is an outbreak of anthrax, we are able to quickly go in and work on this. And we are working with very supportive. So yes, we are ready for any wildlife disease outbreak. We have the capacity to deal with it, both in terms of detection and also epidemiology and surveillance, so that we are able to deal with this. Of course, now we have this challenge of I want to invite Ugandans and all those who are seeing us, please come and visit. The national parks are open. We have put in place the adequate standard operating process for you to come and enjoy your country. Visit the zoos, visit the wildlife sanctuaries, visit the national parks as a family. When you do that, you support a Ugandan who is working there, you're supporting the economy, you also add value to your family, because an exposed family, exposed children will not be gone anywhere. Yeah.
That's very true. Now our time is fast spent and the conversation has to come to its end. Doctor, in just a minute, what are your parting shots? Yes, my parting shots that as the Uganda Wildlife Authority, we are working very hard to restore the dwindling wildlife numbers, especially the lions. People who have set up the rhino, the lions are going to multiply and come back to Chidepo Valley Conservation Area. We are multiplying lions in Queen enforcement to ensure that what we have is kept first of all before we multiply and bring. The viewers for giving us this time today, but I also want to ask the viewer and all Ugandans that we should be able to love our country. Let's love Uganda. Let's tour Uganda. Let's be patriotic about ourselves. The mindset of thinking that somebody from outside Uganda will come and develop this country, it is us Ugandans, and it starts with having passion for what we have. Let's have positive vibe for our country. Be knowledgeable about tourism so that we can get involved. Let us start from tourism and conservation so that we can have livelihoods derived and we can push together our country to the middle income status. We create socio-economic transformation. We bring you more Ugandans into the money economy as advocated for by our president and our government. I thank you. Right, that is Dr. James Musinguzi, Executive Director, Uganda Wildlife Authority. He's been speaking with us to do with the state of wildlife conservation here in Uganda. Conversation that I, for one, I love animals, and a lot I've picked from this conversation. Look at me mixing up conservation and conversation. But the show ends here. Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono is coming through with Good Morning Uganda Extra. Thank you so much for watching and being inspired by UBC TV for God and my country.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call